Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to share a story from RIT, but before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you enjoy it, and leave a comment down below. As I sat on the couch, staring blankly at the TV, I couldn't help but think about how my life had changed in an instant. Just a few days ago, my wife, Rachel, and I were celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and now we were on the brink of separation. We had met in college, and from the moment we locked eyes, I knew she was the one. We were each other's rock, supporting and loving each other through thick and thin. We built a life together, had 2 beautiful kids, and were living the American dream. But it all came crashing down when I made a mistake. A big one. I had been working late nights, trying to meet a tight deadline, and I got careless. I sent a text message to the wrong person, and it was a message that was meant for Rachel's eyes only. But instead, it went to my coworker, Emily. The message was innocent enough, but the context was not. Emily had been flirting with me for months, and I had been politely brushing her off. But the message made it seem like I was interested in her, and she took it as a green light. Rachel found out, and she was devastated. She felt like I had betrayed her, and I couldn't blame her. I had been so stupid, so careless, and now I was paying the price. We had been fighting nonstop since the incident, and the tension between us was palpable. We couldn't even be in the same room without arguing. I knew I had to make things right, but I didn't know where to start. As I sat on the couch, feeling sorry for myself, I heard the door open. It was Rachel, and she looked different. She had been crying, and her eyes were red and puffy. But there was something else, something that I couldn't quite put my finger on. "Hey," she said softly, sitting down next to me. "Hey," I replied, not looking at her. We sat there in silence for a few minutes, the only sound being the ticking of the clock. I knew I had to break the silence, but I didn't know what to say. "Rachel, I started, but she cut me off." "Don't," she said, her voice firm but sad. "Just don't. You've hurt me, Alex. You've hurt me so badly, and I don't know if I can ever forgive you." I felt a pang of guilt, and I knew I deserved it. I had hurt her, and I didn't know how to make it right. "What can I do?" I asked, feeling helpless. "You can give me space," she said, standing up. "You can give me time to think, to figure out what I want to do next." I nodded, feeling a lump form in my throat. I knew I had to give her space, but it was hard. I wanted to fix things, to make everything okay again. As she walked away, I felt a sense of desperation wash over me. I knew I had to do something to make things right, or risk losing the love of my life forever. Over the next few days, I gave Rachel the space she needed. I didn't call her, didn't text her, didn't even try to see her. I just waited, hoping that she would come around, that she would forgive me. But as the days turned into weeks, I started to lose hope. Maybe I had hurt her too badly. Maybe I had broken her trust beyond repair. The thought of living without her, of raising our kids without her by my side, was unbearable. I knew I had to do something, to make a grand gesture, to show her that I was committed to making things right. But what? As I sat on the couch, staring blankly at the TV, an idea started to form in my mind. It was crazy. It was romantic, and it was just maybe enough to win her back. I picked up my phone and started dialing, my heart racing with excitement. I was going to make things right, no matter what it took. I sat on the couch, my phone pressed to my ear as I waited for the person on the other end to answer. It was a long shot, but I was desperate. "Hello," a familiar voice said, and I let out a sigh of relief. "Hey, Mike. It's Alex. I need a favor." Mike was an old friend from college, and he owned a small event planning business. I had an idea, a grand gesture that might just win Rachel back, and I needed Mike's help to make it happen. "What's the favor?" Mike asked, curiosity evident in his voice. "I need you to plan a romantic evening for me and Rachel. The works, candles, flowers, music, the whole 9 yards. And I need it to be perfect." There was a pause on the other end of the line, and for a moment I worried that Mike would say no. But then he spoke up. "Alex, I'm happy to help you out, but are you sure this is a good idea? I mean, you and Rachel are, well, you're not exactly on the best terms right now." I took a deep breath and let it out slowly. I know it's a risk, Mike, but I have to try. I love her and I don't want to lose her. Will you help me? Mike sighed, and I could almost hear him shaking his head. Okay, fine. But if this blows up in your face, don't say I didn't warn you. I grinned, feeling a surge of hope. Thanks, Mike. I owe you one. We spent the next hour discussing details, from the color scheme to the playlist. Mike was a pro, and I knew I could count on him to make the evening perfect. As we wrapped up the plans, I felt a sense of excitement and nervousness. This was it, my one chance to win Rachel back. I was going to make it count. The day of the big evening arrived, and I was a nervous wreck. Mike had outdone himself, transforming our backyard into a romantic paradise. The candles were lit, the flowers were arranged, and the music was playing softly in the background. I stood at the door, waiting for Rachel to arrive. I had invited her over for dinner, without giving her any hints about what I had planned. As I heard the doorbell ring, my heart skipped a beat. This was it. I took a deep breath, opened the door, and smiled. Hey, Rachel said, looking beautiful in a simple white dress. What's all the fuss about? I grinned, feeling my heart swell with love. Just a little something I put together. Come on in. As Rachel stepped inside, her eyes widened in surprise. She took in the candles, the flowers, and the music, and for a moment, I thought I saw a glimmer of hope. But then her expression hardened, and she looked away. Alex, what is this? Some kind of trick to get me to forgive you. I felt a pang of disappointment, but I didn't give up. I took a step forward, my eyes locked on hers. No, Rachel. This is me, trying to make things right. I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I love you, and I don't want to lose you. Please just hear me out. Rachel looked at me, her expression softening ever so slightly. And in that moment, I knew I had a chance. Rachel's expression had softened, and for a moment, I thought I saw a glimmer of hope. She looked at me, her eyes searching, and I could sense her uncertainty. Alex, she started, her voice trailing off. I took another step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. Please, Rachel, just listen to me. I know I made a mistake, and I'm truly sorry. I love you, and I want to make things right. Rachel looked away, her eyes welling up with tears. I could see the pain and hurt etched on her face, and it broke my heart. I don't know, Alex, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I feel like I don't even know you anymore. You've been lying to me, hiding things from me. How can I trust you again? I felt a pang of guilt and regret. I knew I had hurt her deeply, and I didn't blame her for feeling the way she did. I don't expect you to trust me right away, I said, taking another step forward. But I want to earn back your trust. I want to prove to you that I'm committed to our marriage, to our family. I love you, Rachel, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. Rachel looked at me, her eyes searching mine. For a moment, I thought I saw a glimmer of hope, a spark of forgiveness. But then her expression hardened again, and she looked away. I need time, Alex, she said, her voice firm. I need time to think, to process everything that's happened. Can you give me that? I nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. It was a maybe, a glimmer of hope that I could cling to. Of course, Rachel, I said, taking a step back. I'll give you all the time you need. Just please, don't give up on us yet. I promise you, I'll do everything in my power to make things right. Rachel nodded, her eyes still welling up with tears. I'll think about it, Alex. That's all I can promise. I nodded, feeling a sense of determination wash over me. I would do everything in my power to make things right, to win Rachel back. I would fight for our marriage, for our family, with every fiber of my being. As Rachel turned and walked away, I felt a sense of hope that I hadn't felt in weeks. Maybe, just maybe, I could win her back. Maybe I could make things right. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Rachel and I were still living in the same house, but we were barely speaking to each other. I was giving her the space she needed, but it was hard. I missed her, I missed us. One day, as I was coming home from work, I saw Rachel sitting in the living room, staring at a photo album. She looked up as I entered, and our eyes met for a moment. I could see the pain and sadness still etched on her face, but there was something else, something that gave me hope. "Hey," she said softly, closing the photo album. "Hey," I replied, sitting down next to her. We sat there in silence for a moment, the only sound being the ticking of the clock. Then Rachel spoke up. "Alex, I've been thinking a lot about us, about our marriage. I've been thinking about what you did and how it made me feel." I nodded, feeling a sense of trepidation. Was she going to tell me it was over? "I'm still hurt, Alex. I'm still angry. But I've been thinking about all the good times we've had, all the memories we've made together. And I realized that I don't want to give up on us. I want to work through this, to try and make our marriage stronger." I felt a wave of relief wash over me, followed by a sense of hope and determination. We could do this. We could make it through this tough time. "Rachel, I started, but she cut me off. I know you're sorry, Alex. I know you love me. But I need to see it, I need to feel it. I need you to prove to me that you're committed to our marriage, that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it work." I nodded, feeling a sense of determination. I would do whatever it took. I would prove to her that I was committed to our marriage. "Rachel, I promise you, I will do whatever it takes. I will work harder than ever to regain your trust, to make our marriage stronger. I love you, and I'm not giving up on us." Rachel looked at me, her eyes searching mine. Then she nodded, a small smile on her face. "I love you too, Alex. Let's do this." As we hugged, I felt a sense of hope and renewal. We still had a long way to go, but we were taking the first steps towards healing and rebuilding our marriage. We were taking the first steps towards a new beginning.